Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is actually episode number 19, so we've come a long way. For those of you who don't know, Atomic Salt Live Show is a weekly live show where we're going to discuss all things in the tabletop hobby world. This week, we're going to talk about Feast of Blades. Casey Roberts here has just came back, and he's going to tell us all about it today. Hello,
Hey
Casey. How are you
everybody.
today?
Uh, uh, I'm so tired now of it that I can't even do a proper intro. Yeah, just got back from Feast of Blades. But as Alan was saying, this is a live show, so we'd love you to join in. So you can either join our discussion right now, uh, comment below. We'd love to hear from you. So you can help us by liking this, sharing this with friends, or subscribing to the channel. But do we just want to skip hobby today and just get into it?
Yeah, I mean, for hobby, I haven't really done much. I've been casting a few things for um, our event in a few weeks, but you, my friend, have the biggest story or the biggest hobby details for us this week.
Right. So, Feast of Blades 2014, Denver, Colorado. This was my second year going. So, uh, last year we played in the double tournament. This year we played again in the 40K doubles tournament. But we brought a couple of extra friends with us. And double the friends, double the fun.
All right, well, let's kind of break it down like day by day, and just kind of that way it's still fresh in your memory, and you can tell us all the crazy things you guys done.
Okay. So, let's start off on Friday. So,
Friday,
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 Friday's
Friday
the
got
first day.
there. Anything weird Thursday when you guys left? It's a road trip.
It was a road trip, but I'm kind of sworn to secrecy on a lot of that.
Ah.
Um, although I will say that the things that were said in that car will haunt me for the rest of my life. No, anyways, I didn't know it was possible to like make that many dick and fart jokes. I really didn't. Uh, Two of the gentlemen who were going with us, they're a little bit older. Their kids are teenagers and stuff, and we really expected them to kind of be like the more serious and stable ones, but really they regressed to about the age of 6.
Yeah, all
So
those barriers come down as you get older.
they were like the walls of freaking Jericho, man. And
I I have heard the most salty blue comments from guys in their 80s and 90s. So yeah, it all gets better with age.
evidently, or worse, depending on how you look at it. So, but it was an 8-hour road trip from here to there, and we made it safe and sound. Denver has amazing food. Uh, Breckenridge Brewery, you guys took good care of us when we stopped there. We went in looking for a hamburger joint, but it turns out that they do more like barbecue there, and it was amazing. So, and Austin tells us that their beer was quite excellent. They had like it was like a pale mango beer, which evidently is amazing. You never would have think to put mango in beer, but turns out it's great.
Hey, mango's great in salsa, so I mean, add a little beer to that, you're all set.
So, anyways, so starting off on Friday, so we get there and there's like a huge line to get in. No big deal. You're used to lines. So when we got up there, we were given badges like this. So let's see if I can kind of clear on that one. But it's got some custom art, your name. So basically your own personal custom badge. Numbered, looks really great. And they even had like their own little app that you could run on your phone that would send you alerts for like when different rounds were starting, when different events were happening. It kind of kept you up to date on everything that was happening. So they had the technical end really, really well done. I picked up a few other dice, but what I wanted to show you was what their swag bag looked like.
Now this is
So,
the swag
uh,
bag you had to purchase ahead of time, correct?
yes, this was the premier swag bag. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this was the premier swag bag. Now, mind you, this was $80 for this entire bag. So let's kick it off with what we've got going on in this bag. First of all, we have KR Multicase provided a backpack. Now you might be saying, well, there's two backpacks there. One is 80, one is 120. So they just gave you 80, right? Wrong. This is the $120 backpack that KR Multicase puts out. The thing is gorgeous.
Is that filled with foam, or is that just cloth?
It was not filled with. It was not filled with foam. It was filled with all of this good stuff here. So let's zoom in. So first of all, my buddy Chad pulls out this box right here. This is a Malifaux Whiskey Golem. For those of you who are familiar with Malifaux, you'll know that this was an exclusive release from the 2013 Gen Con. These are very, very difficult to find. They don't actually print them anymore. At the time, I didn't know much about Malifaux, so we went into, we started asking around, and there was a guy who was a vendor. He owns a game store over in Denver. Had a lot of Malifaux stuff set out. So I'm like, yeah, hey, and we hold up the box. Do you have a rough idea what this is worth? The guy flips out. He's like, I can't. He's like, that was in there. And he just starts studying. He's like, I'll give you $200 for that right now. Or he's like,
wow.
Look at my table. What do you want on my table? I will give it to you. He's like, I want that. And I saw like a beautiful Grex airbrush there. I'm like, Chad, you gotta get the airbrush. You gotta get the airbrush. And, he just wrapped his arms around. I was like, I think I want to try a little Malifaux first before I give it away. I'm like, get the airbrush, Chad, get the airbrush. So let's keep. Now we went online, and I think that $200 was a little generous because we found them on eBay for about $100. So for those of you keeping score, we're now at $220 worth in this bag. Next, we had a starter set, a plastic starter set from Drop Zone Commando. This is the UCM box. So that's about $50.
Yep.
So we're at $270 now. We've got, this was a custom single run Feast of Blades template set made by Green Man Designs. So they were a little ambiguous about when they said templates or what was going to be in there, but you have big blast, small blast, and foam template. This, Feast of Blades 5-year anniversary. So now you could say that because it was limited edition, it might be worth more, but a set of similar templates from Green Man Designs runs about $20. So $290. And then we had a custom single template, again from Green Man Designs, just a large blast from Green Man. So again, let's call that 10. So where are we at now? We keep the track? 300. 300.
Yeah.
So then, of course, we had a couple of random bases by Secret Weapons, a pair of Secret Weapon watches. I may or may not be stealing those from Chad because he doesn't paint good stuff, and I love Secret Weapon. And then we had like a dozen dice and custom objective markers made. Like the backside of it had Feast of Blade logo, I think you were and a Feast of Blade patch. And you can't see it, but it's like a black on black embroidered Feast of Blades dice bag.
Nice.
So, I mean, I don't, a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. It all kind of adds up. So to say that this was worth $320 to $330 is not unreasonable.
So definitely a good deal for anybody going out there next time. Spend a little money, get a lot more than what you paid for.
Oh, it's amazing. Next year I will. So to Chandler and the rest of the Feast of Blades guys, you did an outstanding job. Thank you very much for that. If I hadn't already allocated my whole budget for Feast of Blades, even then I was tempted. I'm like, I can explain $80. I can totally explain $80 to my wife. I'll just run over there, see if they have any extras, and it'll be worth it. But it was the first day, so I still had like that much impulse control left.
Yeah, all the shiny objects, real hard on your pocketbook.
It is so hard, so hard. So I did state myself by getting so we brought Space Wolf for our doubles tournament. I played with a guy named Darren. He played Blood Angels. I played Space Wolves. So we called ourselves Team Twilight. We had custom-made shirts made up, and by custom-made, I mean like the night before we had a couple of Sharpie markers on some plain T-shirts, and we wrote our names and our team name.
Oh, did you get a photo of that?
Wait 1 minute. Let me go grab it. Hold on.
Yes. Cover some airtime while he's off and away. For those of you who don't know, Feast of Blades is a 3-day tournament held in Denver, Colorado. It goes on in October. They do invitational tournaments. They have 40K, War Machine, Infinity, and other events as well. Casey, you're back. All right, show us some photos.
All right, I'm back. So this is the T-shirt. As I said, we were Team Twilight. Since I was Space Wolves, I was Jacob. And since I was Casey, you start to see, we made that extra big. We had a beautiful 3/4 length T-shirt. And then on the back, we wrote Team Twilight, Feast of Blades 2014. And we had everybody we played got to sign it. So these are all the people that we played. We had some Eldar there. We had Kenny. He was there filming stuff. We actually played against him in a round, so he did a little sketch for us. Some people like to write comments like "You killed Lilith." We'll talk about that one. And so, really, it was a cool little memento that we did, and everybody got a big kick out of it. I might have broke something. So, but since I was playing Space Wolves and Green Man Designs was there, I got a set of Space Wolf templates. That's how I bought $20 templates instead of an $80 swag bag. I did both. So, onto the tournament itself. So before I go any further, for you guys who aren't familiar, every year Feast of Blades does a series of achievements. So I'm not going to read all these off to you, but there's roughly 20 of them. And there's for doing really cool stuff like being stuck in combat for 4 consecutive rounds, or killing an entire unit by snap firing, or killing a monstrous creature through a grounding check. Stuff that some of them are easier than others, or like killing 3 vehicles in a single round of shooting. So, some are easier than others, but you say, well, why would I ever want to do these achievements? You get purity seals.
Nice.
So, and they have a number of different designs. And all you do is once you're done scoring, you go up there with the opposing team, and you just say, hey, these guys got these, we got these. The teammates nod so they know that you're not trying to pull a fast one, and they load you up, and they punch your ticket so you can't keep doing the same one over and over. So, round 1. We have a full drop pod army of Space Wolves and Blood Angels. We play against Orcs and Dark Eldar.
Now, is it the new codex or the old codex?
I'm glad you asked that question, Alan, because it was the new codex. The new codex just came out, 2 weeks ago?
Last week? Yeah.
Last week? Yeah. And so the guy's like, oh yeah, just so you know, I've got the new codex, and we're going to play off of that. Let's just say I was a little hesitant about this idea, because I've been so busy I haven't studied the new codex, so I call over, he's like, oh yeah, the TO signed off on it, it's totally cool. And so I call over the TO, and I'm like, is this alright? Because usually there's kind of like a 1 month window beforehand where they say no new codices, so everybody has a chance to get to know that codex. And the TO's like, oh yeah, sure, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. I don't know what's changed in the codex, but it can't be much, right? You should be fine. Really? Really? Okay. Turn. I mean, now that I've done, on the way home, of course, I read up on the Dark Eldar Codex. It was a fairly unoptimized list. So, and then the orcs was just like a whole smash of orc fighters. And they did us a favor, and they all piled up in one corner. Uh, we thanked them by dropping all of our drop pods into that corner and promptly like roasting all of the orc bikes. And open top skimmers are really great when you're trying to move around, but when you start getting hit by templates from a Fragioso, it's not a lot of fun, it turns out, for them. We actually, by the end of turn 4, we had tabled our opponents. So
you didn't get the turn 5 bonus points?
There were actually no bonus points for turn 5 this year. These were some very streamlined rules. If you're familiar with the Feast of Blades packets, there's a lot of, if you win by so many points, you get this many points. If you win by this many points, you get that many points. This had been condensed to a very simple win, lose, draw point system. So if you won, you took all the points. If you lost, you got 0 points. They still had primary and secondary objectives, but they functioned essentially the same way with a win, lose, or draw.
Alright, so this was round 1.
This was round 1. And then on top of that, they still had like First Blood, Linebreaker, and Slave the Warlord. So that was round 1. And we tabled them. So that immediately took us to like top table. So we were like tied for first because we scored like every possible point. We felt pretty darn good about ourselves. So our second one, we faced off against Kenny. He runs a podcast for the left man can't do it. He's a professional painter, and they actually were live casting it. So
now,
there's like a bunch
what was
of guys.
the podcast again?
I can't remember. I thought it was called something. But he also does painting. And I'm sorry, Kenny. I'd love to give you props, but my brain is so fried right now. I'm happy I remember my name, let alone yours. But they live casted our whole everything, and it's out on YouTube, and you can watch our army get totally taken apart.
Well,
so
when we find that link, we will put it on our Facebook page and blog so you can see the mayhem.
Yeah, Kenny's a great guy. Like, he was a lot of fun to play with. He plays very fast. Like, he really understands his army. And it was a little difficult because this was, Chaos Marines with Demon allies and with a Demon player. So it was really kind of difficult to understand which army was which. And they had a lot, like most Chaos, they have a lot of Psychers and a lot of spells that they were bouncing around all over the place. So it was crazy. We had guys with a 3+ invulnerable save, but with a Mark of Zinch, so they were re-rolling ones, invisible demon princes running around, and I'm not calling it cheap or anything like that. It's my fault for not understanding really what we were getting into. So we played it wrong, but we were thoroughly trounced. We were able to pull out a tie on secondary objectives thanks to my Grey Hunters, making an epic last stand against, a bunch of manta ray looking flying things of demons. We actually put the hurt on them pretty good in combat, which was unusual. So, but that took us down in rate a little bit. And so going into our last round, we were 5th place. And for our last round, after that trouncing, we got our heads back on straight. We pumped each other up, we got ready, and we played a Eldar player, and we played the TO who was playing a Space Marinist. So, nothing very interesting about either one. The Eldar had a couple of jet bikes. He had a Wraith Knight, a couple of Wave Serpents, and a Farseer. So, Nothing too spammy, nothing too scary. The ring player, he brought a drop pod of stern guard, some bikes with gravity guns, and then some scouts. So again, nothing unusual. This was strictly an objective, taking and holding game, and oh my, was this one bloody! It was particularly bloody because we rolled like crap. I mean, ones and twos everywhere. I mean, like pods were scattering 12 inches, and it was like everything that you could imagine going on was going on. So the point where the other team was just kind of like, "Wow, we're sorry." Like they felt bad.
That's when you just want to go and buy new dice, right?
I was like, if I didn't have another set of scatter dice, I probably would have put them across the board. I have never been so angry the way things are going.
When the dice, when they love you, they love you. When they hate you, you feel it.
So, but very quickly we regrouped. We made a sacrifice to the gods, and we actually started turning it around. By the second half of the game, my buddy Darren, he actually managed to kill a Wraith Knight in Overwatch. As the Wraith Knight was charging in, he let loose with all of like his template weapons and somehow knocked off 3 wounds off of a Wraith Knight and killed it. My Terminators made an 11-inch charge and decimated a 10-man squad of warp spiders without taking a single wound. We had a squad of Stern Guard. They took 12 wounds, and between armor saves and feel no pain saves, didn't take a single loss. That was after they'd done the same thing. So we came back hard, in the end game. But unfortunately, it was still too little, too late. And thanks to a couple of deep striking scout squads and land speeders, our opponents were able to take the win, barely. But what turned into I was just ready by the end. I was like, screw it, guys. Turn 2. It's your game. You win. We were able to turn it into something really close. So I managed to have, I think, it was personally my favorite game of all of them. What about their achievements, Casey? Oh yeah, achievements. So each of us managed to score 3 purity seals. So I'll add this to my growing collection. I have 2 of them already from last year. And if I thought to think that once you get 5 little ones, you get to trade it in for a big one that's 3 times the size. Oh, I don't know. Having 5 purity seals hanging off you might look pretty darn cool. So I might just keep all the small ones.
That's gonna make you look very impressive at the office.
I tell you what, our contract holders are gonna think I'm amazing when I walk in covered in these suckers on Tuesday. Yep, they will know that this right here is a man who knows how to play, who should be feared and respected. So I managed to, I got an achievement for staying in close combat for 4 consecutive rounds. I was actually in 5 or 6 rounds with some Dark Eldar. And those Dark Eldar are mean, but my Wolf Lord, hitting at Strength 6 with an AP2 weapon is even meaner. And anybody who's really worried about Dark Eldar in close combat, don't worry about it too much. They're only toughness 3, so even some of their really big, scary characters are only toughness 3, so you get to double them out pretty easily. So got one for that. Pulled off another one because I wiped out a single squad in 1 round. That was the Warp Spiders. Just because you're 11 inches away does not mean you're safe. So that was actually the turning point, because we were looking, we're like, well, we got no other moves, but theoretically there's an 11-inch charge. Life has been sucking for us so far, but we're Terminators and they don't have any low AP weapons, so we'll just go for it anyways, right? Ended up making it, and all of a sudden, back in the game, baby. Our my last one was for forced narrative. My warlord managed to kill their warlord in a duel or in a challenge, so it was fun. Darren picks
So,
them up, and it was a great time.
so how did you end up in the rankings?
I have no idea, so I need to look. I'm imagining because we actually, we lost 2 games, it probably wasn't too great. I'm guessing that probably dropped us down to like around 15, 12 or 15, I imagine. So,
All right, so that was
but
Friday tournament-wise. What did you guys
yeah.
do after that? Or I
One
should
thing I
say,
wanted to
what
mention.
did your friends do?
So, our friends brought orcs and bugs, and they actually won 2 of their 3 games. So, and they very solidly won their games. So, for anybody who says that orcs and Tyranids, can't win tournaments, are wrong because these guys did pretty darn good. And that was one of the wonderful things is not just in the doubles tournament, but amongst all the 40K tournaments. Last year all we saw was Talon, Eldar, Riptides, and Waketides all over the place. It was extremely diverse this year, like extremely. If you ask me to name the most common army, maybe Space Marines. Maybe. It's hard to tell because it was a very, very diverse field. So, and that was Friday. So after that, we went out, got some good food to eat, came back, uh, did some demos, and called it a night.
Oh, what demos did you
We
guys go
did play a
to?
little bit of. Well, let's talk about demos because Friday night, Saturday was all demos. So, first game we demoed was Drop Zone Commander, and because Hawk War Games actually sent someone all the way over from Scotland, Simon. You are amazing. You give a great demo game. Even got him to sign my rulebook. Well, that's next. Some other signature I picked up earlier. Drop Zone Commander is a stupidly fun game. Like you can even blow up buildings. There was 3 buildings with objectives, and we rush in squads into the first 2 buildings, and he rushes both of the squads into the 3rd building. And we're sitting there like, what do we do? What do we do? And we're like, wait a second. We can blow up buildings, right? Yeah. What happens to the people inside the buildings when they collapse? And he looks at us. He's like, "What do you think happens to people inside of buildings when they collapse on them?" Blowing up buildings is not as easy as it sounds. Turns out. It took us all game, but it was so tight. Like this game, I mean, normally you're supposed to let people win their demo games, right? Nobody told our dice that. We rolled horrible. He rolled amazing. We managed to win the game by a single dice roll at the end of the night, at the end of the game. So, Simon, Hawk Board, you guys have an amazing game. The starter sets are amazing. They're all in plastic. They were selling tons of resistance stuff there because they're amazing. They're basically like 15 millimeter orc stuff from the new resistance boxes. So, Infinity was there. I had Carlos. Yeah,
I guess
PHR.
PHR. So maybe I should get a demo game or a game between the 2 of us now that we both have armies.
Yeah. Well, Chad has an army now too, so there's 3 of us that play theoretically. So, Carlos Bostria from Infinity was there. He was nice enough to do a little sketch of Moyeb. Is that how you say it? Moyeb?
Muyib?
Moyeb?
Hakazam Moob? Moob?
Moob? And so here's a funny story. So I walk up to him. I'm like, "Sir, thank you for coming all the way out here. We really appreciate it." I shake his hand. Say, "My name's Casey Roberts." Or no, I didn't even say my last name. I said, "My name's Casey." And I was in the middle of thinking, and all of a sudden he stops. He's like, Casey. Casey Roberts? I was like, how do you know my name? That's a little creepy. And he looks around. He leans in. Goes, I'm everywhere. It was really weird. I'm like, so you're like the Spanish version of the NSA. And he's like, I don't get that reference, but yes. So hilarious guy. But I to thank him for all the work that Corvus Belly does, I brought him a gift. You talked to Angel at Gen Con, said he loved G.I. Joe. We talked with Dexter from the Krug, and he says that yes, he loves G.I. Joes. It turns out they were not lying to us.
You didn't believe me. I'm like, Casey, you got to do this. He's like, no. I'm like, Casey, you got to do this.
And as you can see, he was shocked. Like, I pulled out my backpack. I'm like, sir, I just want to give you a gift to tell you thank you. And I give it to him.
Let's see.
We done? You looking at me now? Okay.
I pulled it up. Is this the photo you were looking for?
Yeah.
That's a face of joy right there.
It was. So, anyways, so I give it to him, and he just has this shocked look. He's like, what is this? I'm like, well, I was told you liked these. And he's like just totally blown away. He's like, how did you know? And I look around, and I lean in. I'm everywhere. And he just busts out laughing. It was great. And he's like, thank you so much. He's like, this is amazing. Like, I've never even seen this one before. He's like, it's really old too. I'm like, yeah, it was made like, back in '94. He's like, this is incredible. He's like, I can't. He's like, I have to give you something back. He's like, because if I just take this, it feels like socialism, and I don't believe in socialism. So I need to give you something. And I'm like, oh, you don't need to do that. But in my head, I'm like, yes, thank you. I was just happy to be getting a sketch. And so he starts looking around, and there's a couple of people who are like looking at the display case, and he's like, go away, get out of here. And they're like a little butthurt, that this guy's telling him to go away. He reaches into his bag and he's like, I'm going to give you something very special. He's like, and then he pulls out this. So this right here, a few months ago, the Pan-Oceania had their Crocman model redone. The new Crocman model is not the original one they designed. This one is. They designed the model, they casted it up, and for whatever reason, they decided they did not like it. As far as I know, there's only 10 of these models ever made. So, I got one, the guys from the Krug got one, and then the Feast of Blaze people got one as well. So, he's like, it's yours. He's like, you can go put it on eBay, sell it for $1,000. I don't know. Or, I was like, no, sir, I'm keeping this. This is too good of a gift. Thank you very much. So then, after worshiping at the feet of Carlos, we went on. We did another demo game. This time we demoed the game Bolt Action. So for those of you who are saying what is Bolt Action, Bolt Action is as you can tell, is a historical game. It's focused on World War II. Which has a very interesting mechanic. It's not a you go I go game. It's not even an alternating activation game. For every unit, you get a dice. You put all those dice in a bag or in a cup or a mug or whatever. Shake it up, and then you start pulling dice out. And let's say you had green dice, I had blue dice. If we pull out a green dice, it's your turn. You get to nominate one unit to activate, and they get to go. Then after that, then we reach back in there and we pull out another dice. Let's say it's another green dice. That means you get to activate another model. So and it all balances itself out because you might get a lot of dice drawn in the beginning. I get a lot of dice drawn at the end. In fact, the way it works is, in this case, we had like a tank duel going on. My tank got to shoot first, but
Now, is this 28 mil or 15 mil?
this is 28 mil. So, and in fact, we had such a good time with the guys doing it that he gave us models. So we have right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a dozen U.S. Marines. So we're playing it. And then you're like, oh wow, that's really cool. Well, that's not all the free stuff we got. Because Feast of Blades, I think we talked about this before, had over $10,000 worth of prize support going on. And you'll just say, oh, well, that's like for all the people who win tournaments. No. Chandler, the guy who's in charge of Feast of Blades, was walking around with like a giant bag. And if he liked what you were doing, he would just walk up to you and say, hey, reach in the bag and pull something out. And so he walks up to us, he's like, hey guys, we really appreciate you supporting all the demos. So why don't you each, grab a token? We reach in and we pull out poker chips. And then you got to take depending on the color, was like the level of prize you won. And so we got to go up there and we got to like pick something from this giant prize table. And so me and my buddy Austin, we both picked out the mini rulebooks for Bolt Action. And the cool thing is that Bolt Action only has, first of all, the little mini rulebooks are out of print, so that's awesome. Second of all, they do not do new editions of their game. This is the only rulebook that they will ever publish. So they do have expansions and they do have campaigns, but they will always use this core rulebook, which they're not ever going to change. So
that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. So now I have like a dozen Marines. I have the rulebook. I've got another person who plays it. It's a lot of fun. It's a pretty quick system to pick up. So we might be playing some Bolt Action here soon. So then we went on. We did Carlos's presentation for Infinity. We'll save that till last. We'll just save that till last because there's a lot to talk about.
Was that on Saturday or Friday?
That was on Saturday. So we're at Saturday evening now. And then finally, for our last demo, we demoed the game that I think we probably had the most fun with, which happened to be the game Malifaux. Have you ever played Malifaux before?
Yes, I have.
Right. So it's actually, for those of you who haven't, it's a really, really unique game. So, for those of you who aren't familiar,
let's see, I've got the Relic Hunters, I've got a few other, I've got 10 Thunders, a few factions. So yes, it's all part of the Tower of Shiny Syndrome.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Malifaux, it's a skirmish-sized game, and it's got kind of like a horror, like a dark horror kind of theme to it all. And I kind of dismissed it because I'm not really like a horror or steampunk kind of guy.
It's a steampunk, Wild West.
There's a lot of different styles going on there. But how the game works...
It's got an Asian theme to it, yeah. It's very hard to pin down exactly what it is.
The miniatures are beautiful. And it takes you can play multiple people very, very well with the game. It's alternating activation. It's skirmish size, so you're probably usually going to have around a dozen or so models. We were each playing with like one boss and a couple of minions, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, the gal who was giving it gave an amazing demo. We were all in the right frame of mind. We were having a lot of fun. We were laughing, yelling, screaming. So much so, in fact, that Chandler came back around with like the the bag of prizes, and we all got more stuff. We're all excited and having a great time. Uh, we really enjoyed it because Malifaux doesn't actually work on dice. It has a deck of cards. I'm not talking like a magic deck. I'm actually talking about a literal deck of cards.
Yeah, 52 card poker deck.
Yep. And you can actually use just a regular poker deck if you want to. And you do that. So if you have say you want an attack to go off, and your attack is like base 4, and your opponent has, say, like a base skill 3. You basically play a game of war with them, and you both flip over the top card. And whoever has that card plus their base skill wins. Now here's where it gets interesting, because you say, well, that sucks. If I draw a 2 and he draws a 10, then there's no strategy in that. There's no tactics. But in Malifaux, you get to cheat. At the start of every turn, and I'm not saying activation, so you have at the start of every turn, you get a hand of 6 cards. And you keep those 6 cards secret, and you're allowed to cheat up or down, depending on the situation, your hand. So if in this situation, if I had just drawn a 2 and I totally flubbed it, and I have a king in my hand, I have the ability then to play that king instead of that 2.
Yeah, it's very much a resource management with the card system.
Yep. And you have to be careful. I mean, you don't want to blow all of your high cards at once. So, but then once I cheat, then you get to cheat after me. So, do I just cheat a little bit and just barely top what you have, or do I just blow you out of the water? And so that was a stupidly fun game. So,
That's another hook in the mouth, huh?
oh gosh, yeah. We were lucky that I was late enough with the guy who was selling like all the Malibu starter boxes that had closed up shop.
Well, I mean, if you want some starter boxes, I got some starter boxes for you.
I might have to take you up on that. And then finally, we ran into our old buddy Dexter, and he started handing me wood. His wood.
Oh,
Dex, I hope you're
it's
listening to hear that. Or if not, we're going to send this to you, talking about, you giving me wood. So I picked up a ton of stuff from Dexter. So we have L-shaped buildings. I don't even know what he gave me here now. I ordered it and I got a bunch of stuff. So we just keep going and going and going some more.
Now, are we gonna see this built up and
some more
shown off later on?
Yes. So my plan is I've started doing some articles for DataSphere. So we're gonna start doing some reviews of these. We'll do some assembly, maybe even some videos. We'll do some painting, and we're gonna build these up because I love Sharkmouth Lasers designs for his terrain. So I am exceptionally happy.
Now, I know you're not too big in the social scene, but if you're going to start writing and all that for DataSphere and showing off stuff, we're probably going to have to get you a Twitter account.
I even thought I might have to start doing Facebook too. Just to stream. But yeah, so Dex and the guys, they were going out. They went and played laser tag later that night. They invited me. It was very kind of them. But unfortunately, we had to leave early Sunday morning, which is this morning, so I wasn't able to go out there. But Dex, Carlos, Gentleman of the Crowd, I hope you had a great time because you put on a hell of a show. We forgot to talk about Infinity, didn't we?
No, you were saving it to the last.
Oh! Well, that was wise of me.
It's almost like you planned it this way.
Shh! You're ruining the magic, Alan. You're ruining it. Suspension of disbelief. No, really, people. We're just horribly disorganized. Okay, so Carlos gave a presentation at Feast of Blades. in which he showed off a lot of new stuff. So, if you guys would
And
look,
if you haven't seen it, there is a playlist here on the channel, so check it out.
so, we looked at a lot of concept art, some of it new, and then he proceeded to talk about the third edition Infinity. And this is stuff that hasn't been shared anywhere else. And Carlos was emphatic that we get this out to you guys because he really wants everyone to know about it. So, first of all, there's been a lot of talk about Nimbus grenades. We've seen the profile, but what do they do? Would you like to know what they do?
Please, Casey, tell us more.
Or do we want to make them watch the videos? No, I'll tell you guys. Don't worry. Okay.
It's in one of the videos. You'll have to watch them all to see.
Yeah. So think of Nimbus grenades as like a smoke grenade. Except a smoke grenade is zero visibility. A Nimbus grenade is partial visibility. So anything that's looking through that is working on a -3 modifier. And you think, well, that sucks. Why would I ever want to do that? On top of that, because the Nimbus grenade is like a whole bunch of like nanite robot sort of things swirling around. And so anything that tries to shoot through a Nimbus cloud actually has their burst reduced. So, for instance, if you have a combi rifle with a burst 3, and you're trying to shoot through it to somebody else, you're shooting at a burst 1. If you have a hyper-rapid magnetic cannon that shoots at burst 5, you reduce to burst 1. Now, naturally, there will be a few weapons that are so powerful, and maybe it's the hyper-rapid magnetic cannon, we don't know. But they might actually get a burst 2. But they're still getting their burst reduced. So, extremely powerful, a great way if you don't have smoke grenades, or you're wanting to shoot, or you don't have visors. It's a great way to reduce a lot of shooting that comes through. We also got to see some hacking. So they're changing now. It used to be that your hacker could hack through a repeater to another repeater, through that repeater to another hacker.
Well, the rules were they weren't very clarified. And from what I've seen, they're shoring up the rules, making it more streamlined, and then that way there's no, well, rules as written versus rules as interpreted.
Yeah. And so what they're doing is they're reducing that. So if you are hacking through a repeater, you can only hack another repeater. You can't go through to another hacker. And if you watch on the videos, he's got some great diagrams. So basically think of, you can only make 2 jumps with a hacker. So your hacker can go through your repeater to another repeater. Your hacker can go through an enemy repeater to another hacker, because those are each 2 jumps. But no more than that. Because they found that a lot of times if you had a hacker heavy or repeater heavy list, like in the first turn, one guy would make one little move, and then it was just like a flurry of like hacking arrows all over the place, and then it was like one guy, like who was still like somehow barely alive, with smoke coming out of his ears, a shocked look on his face. So they changed that, and then they also changed how impetuous is going to be. So a lot of people would use impetuous and could kind of game the system a little bit, and you could see impetuous as a bonus. But now impetuous models are no longer going to have the ability to take advantage of partial cover.
Oh, so that's like because they're running full bore, right?
Right. So, I don't have a big corner here. You made a great example of it. So, this. So, this is like the wall. An impetuous guy is not going to just like, sneak out from behind the wall going, and then, kind of duck behind it. An impetuous guy is going to go, ah! He's not going to be behind the corner of the wall. So, plus there's a couple of other little tidbits in there that I don't want to ruin, you guys. So you'll have to watch the videos. And then there was the top secret stuff. And
Yes,
unfortunately,
there is speculation going on up and down the forums and on the social media of what exactly happened, because all we saw was the after video of Dexter leg humping Carlos, basically. So it must be something good. The speculation abounds of what was announced in that short little gap.
and I'm sorry, but we have all been sworn to secrecy. So,
Well,
I promise you, you're going to love it. Though.
do they? Did he at least say when this would be announced?
Oh, oh, we may hear about it on Beast of War Infinity Week. I'm not sure.
So that starts Monday. So
Yes, it does. So, but I don't believe so. So, 50-50 on that one. Not sure. So, but I promise you guys are going to like it.
all right. So anything else on this trip? Anything you can take back for next time?
You know what? Just in that, last year I was blown away by how well Feast of Blazing performed. This year, I have to say that they did a just as good, if not better, job. And I say that because this year they had more events going on, they had more people showing up. Uh, this was their fifth year running it, and it really shows. These guys know how to put on a good show, and they really know how to handle things, and they know how to organize things. So my
Yeah, I
hats
know
off
there was a little
to
bit of a
everyone.
grievance from the community about the price increase, but did you see your money's worth this year?
I will say that it was a things were better run. You know how they spent that money, I'm not exactly sure, but I will say that the staff was better. There was more prizes this year. Things were more organized. So uh, it all around felt like a better event. So um, what that means for the future, I don't know. Um, but the better question is do I feel like I got my money's worth? And the answer to that is yes. I definitely do. You know, did I feel like I got my money out of it last year? Yes. Do I feel like I got my money's worth out of it this year? Yes. And so even if the price went up, I still feel like it was a good investment.
Very nice to hear.
So that's it for me. And um, anything else you're curious about seeing or hearing or talking about?
I think I'm gonna have to drug you up to hear the goodness behind closed doors.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. My lips are sealed. Uh, Carlos, like we were signing in blood to keep this sort of thing secret.
Well, it was good to hear you. I mean, sounds like a great trip. Hopefully, I'll be able to attend next year. Um, did you happen to get any other video or interviews with other folks there?
You know what? I won't lie. I was too busy having a good time. There was I forgot. There was one more game that we did try. It's called Solarium. It's a card flipping game. Going to Kickstarter here in a couple of months. Uh, it was a card flipping game. Nice guys, really nice guys. So we'll leave it at that.
All right.
So, but we got lots of pictures. We'll try and get those up for you guys.
Yes. So, folks, if you want to check it out, we have our Facebook page, The Atomic Salt. We have our blog, The Atomic Salt blog. Links are down in the description. Please check it out. We'll have Casey posting this week, so be sure to keep checking back. Anything else before we sign off, Casey?
That's it for me. I'm ready to go put myself into a drug-induced coma and sleep for the next 12 hours.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Tune in next week. Please comment below. Let us know what you think. Like this video. Share it with your friends. Subscribe to see more. We'll see you next week. Anything else, Casey?
Well, if you're a company and you'd like us to talk about you or review your products, just give us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. So we're the Atomic Salt, and we've just blown your mind.
All right, guys. You have a good night.